All right, everybody. How we doing? Time to rise. You got casual loquitur today. I've been out working on the pool, so realized what time it was and had to come in and turn on the stream. So I'm in my sweaty t-shirt. Gonna have to leave the air conditioner on today, so you'll have that noise in the background, but I gotta cool off. Hot here in Texas. Hot. Summertime's here. Good stuff, though. We like it. Can we get a pajama loquitur? I think there's one video of me in a bathrobe. I have a Chewbacca bathrobe. It's got like the little bandolier coming across it and everything. I think the May 4th video from last year, I was in that bathrobe with my daughter. Yeah. Usually put on a collar to do the stream, but it's funny. That's been like one of my gimmicks forever. For anybody who doesn't know, I've been a gamer for a long time. I've been going to Gen Con since like 1996 or something, so I have had a lot of years of gaming, a lot of tournaments that I've been in, and when you go to these conventions, you're around a whole bunch of other people in black t-shirts, and the gamer stereotype is the gamer stereotype for a reason, and that's, you know, the people that you hang around with at the cons. So I pretty quickly settled into this routine of the guy who's going to be in his business slacks and business shirt and play at the cons. So I just started what I consider like normal dress at the conventions, and yeah, it was funny because who are you playing against? Walker? Who's that? Oh, the guy in the suit. Oh, that guy. so yeah, it's always been kind of my gimmick, the professional gamer, I guess. Yeah, we're in a gamer t-shirt today, though. I got Darth Vader on my t-shirt. My wife bought me this t-shirt. It says, Darth Vader, finding your lack of faith disturbing since 1977. Vintage t-shirt. Pretty good. Stream. All right, let's catch up on chat over here. Hey, DL, was listening to your last stream while working out. When YouTube gave me the notice, switching to live, time to rise. Hey, Iden Versio, thanks for coming in. Ray's here. David Dutrow says, I complained on the last stream. I was stuck at 94 Razor Crest shards. After the stream finished, it popped in the fleet store each of the next two resets. Stream luck. Stream is powerful. That's funny. It's funny because 80 degrees makes me feel like I'm literally melting. Nice. It's been a year since your 2021 guides came out. Which of the 4 paths do you recommend now? It's something I've been talking about a lot with the folks over on Discord, some guild leaders that I know, gotten their opinions on a few things, and having played through the Subtitio account and reminded myself like what the early game is really like with gear and resources and all that. I think the guides are still valid enough, but if I'm doing them over again, I think SLKR first, just it looks so good that when I'm coming up with alternative plans for what else to do, I just keep coming back to this idea that SLKR gets you the finalizer fleet. It gets you prerequisites for Executor. It gets you your Galactic Legend early so that you can get high placement in Galactic Challenges, Conquest, all of that. What a Galactic Legend brings is a lot more than GAC. We talk a lot about GAC on the stream, but the game is all about getting everything you can out of the game. You got to get your income up as fast as you can. And when you get your income high early, it pays off over and over again. And I think a lot of people who have done the Techno Union path really, I mean, I get probably more emails or messages about that path than anything else, with people saying, you know, this was really good. It just, I got all of this stuff unlocked early. I've been doing all of these things since the start, and it's helped me build, you know, everything that I want to build later. So I think maybe, I don't know if there's 4 good paths. It just keeps coming back to this idea of, if you didn't do SLKR first, what would you do instead? So if you said, and I've said this before on the stream, let's look at what a 4 million galactic power account should look like. And to me, it's 2 GLs, do SLKR, do Rey. I've been told by guild leaders that that's not as appealing as some other teams and things that you could build for your account. So stabilize, do your Geos, get Vader relicked, start your early fleet, get malevolence on the way. That stuff, I think, is all legitimately the way to start the game. I can't think of a better way to start the game than that. From there, build SLKR. And then the consensus among contemporaries seems to be that go for the gas journey. Padme's a functional team. It does a lot of good things for you in your account. Guilds tend to like the Padme team. It's a good Phase 1 Rancor team. It's a good, decent Phase 4 Rancor team among all the teams that aren't Kenobi. And then gas. And I think with those journeys, if you do SLKR, gas, executor, that should put you close to 4 million. And putting Revens in there just delays what you need to do with the other 3 things. Putting in CLS just delays the other 3 things. So stabilize, SLKR, gas, executor. You know, a year ago, galactic power mattered, and there were different ways to build into good Grand Arena play, reasons to build different things first. And like I said, I'm struggling now. I think maybe if I did the layout for 4 million, Imperial Troopers probably still comes before the SLKR build. You might still want to build the Imperial Troopers, relic 2 of the Troopers. They beat so many early game teams. They beat JKR. They can beat Darth Revan in the right circumstances. They beat Geos. It's such a good cleanup team in GAC. It gets you assault battles. It gets you a lot of things. So maybe it looks like the Troopers become part of that stabilization. But then GL, gas, executor, and then your light side GL, Rey, JMK, JML. From there, any one of those 3 things looks pretty good. Depends on what you want to build. I still like Rey. It gets you another fleet. I've really enjoyed Rey. And I'll give you a quote. I'll give you a little quote from my last opponent. And this is the kind of stuff that, I mean, this is legitimate and real. So my opponent last time just says, "Congrats, you won. I can't stand Rey in 3v3. Just, he couldn't beat Rey with the first try, and then Rey just is, for him, unbeatable. And in 3v3, she's a monster. So I still like Rey a lot. All right, let's catch up on chat. I'm on a modified Senator build now. Went for a passable Imperial Trooper team and Bounty Hunters early. Ali says, hope you're having a good day. Emmanuel says, what do you think of Revens into SLKR, then Executor and Rey? It's not bad, but right now, what do the Revens get you? They're good in GAC, guys. Don't get me wrong. They're great in GAC. So if you're a GAC-focused player and you really want to win GACs, doing Revens first is great. They're not... Well, I mean, in normal Conquest, they're still great, too. So, again, if you're planning on an account to get to 4 million and be able to just smash hard Conquest right when you get to 4 million GP. The Revens are not that. They don't smash through Conquest. GAS does. Galactic Legends do. They get you all the way to Sector 5. But the Revan teams, once you start getting into the speed-boosted teams that go first, it gets hard to keep all your characters alive. Darth Revan team can win, but you'll lose 2 or 3 characters. Pretty much end up with solo Malak or maybe Revan and Malak in a lot of those Conquest battles. So it's hard to keep all your dudes alive. At least that's what I've seen. You know, I don't have Malak on either of my accounts, so I can't speak to how a full relic Revan team with Malak works. But that's my experience so far. Is it's with any team that's not GL, even with the GL teams. If you take SLKR in with double tank, the second tank, the Stormtrooper won't live. He'll get killed in almost all the matchups. They can just like hit him twice and kill him. You take him in against like a Phoenix team, and they'll take like 26 turns attacking him and just kill him. So that's kind of the thing with Revens. They don't have a fleet, and fleets are critical. So if there was any kind of fleet with Revens, then they're back in the game. But because it delays your fleet, if you do well in GAC, you just push yourself up to the point where you need 4 or even 6 fleets, and the Revens didn't help you with that. You can get to Kyber at 4 million. I mean, my Loquitur account is right at 4 million now, and I'm convinced I'm going to get into Kyber pretty soon. So in the grand scheme of things, I think that's what you have to look at. The Revens don't have a fleet. That's what hurts them right now. I'm happy with my pass, says David Dutrow, SLKR, Executor, GAS, JML. Yeah, so you just did the Executor before GAS. My proposal would be to do GAS before Executor. If you get the Finalizer fleet running, you can beat Executors, especially early Executors. Actually, now that I say that, you can beat... The problem I have in Grand Arena is you can easily beat the 7-star Executor. Well, not easily, but you can beat the 7-star Executors. But now that I'm thinking about it, like the 5-star Executors do give me problems with the First Order fleet. But I was going to say the First Order fleet will carry you through Fleet Arena until you get your Executor. But I'm sure if I played against the understarred Executor fleets enough, I could figure it out. Maybe I'll do that as a project, try to figure that out. Hey DL, just got here. Did you hit 4 million and did you bloat efficiently? Well, what I found in my bloating it... Oh, God. Oh, did you bloat efficiently? Oh, God. Oh, just... It was so hard for me, guys. This was like the most ridiculous thing I've ever done. Intentionally throwing away credits and inflating my galactic power for no reason whatsoever. Oh, it hurts. So, what I settled in on is this range around 40 to 44. You can get 4 levels of skills, and you can get gear 6. Without putting mods on the character, it's a very low investment. It doesn't take that many credits, and you can take these characters up to about 6,000 to 7,000 galactic power. If you look at just a generic 7-star character, they're maybe 4,000, 4,500. So you can add 2,000 galactic power to a 7-star character. Anything that you've 7-starred just to get the shards, for example, all these characters down here, I can add 2,000 galactic power for very little money. So that to me was kind of what I was looking for and trying to spend the least amount of money for galactic power. And then, of course, if you do that with pilots, that was my challenge. I kept looking back and forth and trying to find ships. So, like, we didn't have Sabine Wren built up at all. So Sabine is part of a ship. So then we did the same thing here. You know, we took her to level 40. We put the 4 levels of skills on her. That boosted her and boosted the ship. Came out to like 5,000 galactic power that I got for her. But I packed on a nice fat 250,000 galactic power, so I'm at 4 million now. Made it to 4 million. What a pathetic experience. I hated it. Guys, I hated it. I was clicking these buttons. I ran out of credits. I went in, sold all my mods, all the gray mods on the left-hand side. I sold them all to get more credits, just so I could throw them away developing useless galactic power. But I did it. We did it. We're 4 million. We got Proving Grounds. We got hard mode Conquest next time it comes up. We're in it to win it. Or we're in it to get some free loot anyway. Alright. Conquest doesn't have many feats specific to GL requirements, though. Sith Empire, Old Republic, Bounty Hunter kills. So the feats are secondary. I mean, to me, the main thing that you want to do in Conquest is get through the content. Because the battles all give you Conquest currency. Getting, some progress toward your boxes gets you more Conquest currency. And the currency that you get from those completions is a pretty big deal. There's so much gear. On my main account, every time Conquest comes up, I just always feel like I hit the jackpot. I just basically go into that store with all those relic pieces, and I just buy out most of the shop, and it feels like I hit the lottery. And then during the whole Conquest, I just restock the funds. So, yeah, I feel like the progress is more important than whether or not you get the specific feats. So like this one, let's say you do the one with where you had to get kills with Vader. If you don't have Vader relic, you would just relic Vader. So let's say, for instance, the next galactic Conquest comes up, and it says you need kills with Commander Luke Skywalker or something like that. Would it be worth building a CLS team just to get that feat? Well, if you were going to build it anyway, if it was on your radar, if it was something you were going to do, you could build it during the first round of Conquest and then have it for the next two. So Conquest does give you the availability. If there's something that's absolutely critical to the feats, then you get to decide whether or not you're going to pursue it. And for me, most of the time, the answer is going to be no. We'll just ignore it. If I don't get the feats, I don't get the feats. I'll take what currency I can get. Because if I just take what I can get, it's for free, right? Remember, we talked at a prior stream about fear and greed is just another kind of fear. I'm not greedy. I don't care about the feats. If I can do the content all the way through the end with what I've got, then that's what I get. That's my income. Happy with that. I'm not going to do weird and crazy stuff to try to get greedy and get one more box. That's just me. I mean, I'm just taking what the game gives me. But in a certain circumstance, if there was a character that I wanted and I could get it and all I had to do was build a CLS team, I'd build it. That's a choice. And I'm in control of my choices, and I would make one based on what's best for my account. Hope that all makes sense. Get me talking, I'll talk forever on that stuff. All right. Fetch the machine that goes ping. I always use voluntary Vanguard and 4-man it for DR and get 3 stars. Who do you leave? Oh, you put in DR, Bastila, and the 2 tanks. That could work. Are you planning on doing SLKR for Obtisio? I don't know what I'm going to do with Obtisio. I may actually... I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do, because the 3 accounts is a lot for me to play right now. And if I do propose the new best build path, I might want to also actually physically do that build path so that we propose the path, do all the work up front, and then follow along with the build, in which case I would have to abandon the Obtisio account. There's no way, there is no possible way that I could do 4 accounts. So with the Optio account, it's the reverse order. So it's the exact same thing. I keep looking at it going, okay, so I do gas first. Well, I'll do gas, and then I'll do SLKR, and then I'll do Executor. It comes down to the same three things. And I think in terms of the Optio account, maybe picked the wrong order. You know, maybe doing the clones first to get a good guild is good, but it gets me a better guild, but it gets me worse income. So which is more important, your own income for all of the in-game stuff that's not guild, or getting into a good guild to improve your guild income? So the guild income is so critical because you just can't get the negotiator and the malevolence. But since you can get finalizer and executor and technically chimera, I mean, you can 7-star chimera pretty easily without ever being in a guild. And the negotiator and the malevolence can come later now. So it's a lot to think about. It's a lot to look at. But I think with the Optio account, I would just be doing it in that order. We'll do the clones, we'll do SLKR, and we'll do Executor. Or maybe we'll do gas and into Executor and then into SLKR. One way or the other. But it's going to be the same three things. Because I can't think of a better way to end up at 4 million. Yep. And I looked at doing gas into a light side GL like JMK. Doesn't get you a fleet. JML doesn't get you a fleet. You do Ray, it doesn't get you a good enough fleet. You need to do SLKR first for that fleet. So, yeah, that's what I'm settling on. DL, I switched guilds a couple weeks ago like Optio. I kept track of what was available to me. Would you be interested to see those stats if I were to post it in Discord for science? Yeah, post it up. You can post it in the Ask Loquitur channel or in general chat. If you post it in general chat, ping me. And if it's something that we feel like is a good resource for people, or, you know, if there's a place that we can post it, people will be certainly interested to see it and read it. But just be aware that just like the Optio, people fall into two categories every time. There's the people who are open-minded, accept the information, and think to themselves, I can make this work for me. And then there's the skeptics who say, that's all a load of crap. I mean, the guy just wrote a bunch of numbers in a spreadsheet, and that doesn't work for a normal player like me. So putting it up as a testimonial and say, look, I got these results. You know, it works. You can get these kinds of offers if you put the effort in. I think that's a very positive thing. Just realize that there are going to potentially be some people who put their fingers in their ears and say they don't want to hear it. But yeah, if we could put that up as a resource, post it over there. I'll talk to the admins and see if there's something we can do with it. Den says, who cares? Win rate 50%. Yeah, at the end of the day, that's what it, I mean, Grand Arena, it's just, you got to categorize it and say, okay, I want my account to get to Chromium as soon as possible. I need 4 fleets. I need to get to Chromium. I want that income. Okay, that's step 1. But if you're looking long term, you got to think 4 million, Kyber, 6 fleets, let's go. All right. Hey, DL, on my account, I first got SLKR, and after that I got gas. Should I go for JMK or Executor next? Well, if you follow what I was just talking about, Executor next. And then JMK or whatever you want. But those are the 3 building blocks, SLKR, gas, and then I would absolutely go for Executor next. How close are you to BAM? Pretty close. I think in my Farmer Brown I've got the BAM journey laid out. Yeah, so we've got Mandalorian, we've got Queel, IG, Grief Karga. So Cara Dune. Cara Dune's the only one lagging behind. We knew that. And then the reason why I'm still lagging on that is because of the JMK alt. When I was farming that alt, Cara Dune's on a hard dark node, so I couldn't farm her for weeks. She was just left out. I did get back into her farm like the last week when I knew I was going to finish out the alt. Maybe I should have just farmed her the whole time. It would have delayed my alt by like 3 or 4 days, but maybe 3 days. But I probably could have farmed her. But anyway, she's at 28 out of 100. As soon as she's done, then BAM's in the house. You got to put a little bit of gear on Mandalorian, but that's not bad. We put him to 38 and geared him up for the bloat. He was part of the bloating. Oh man, I'm way behind on chat. 3v3 and bloat in the same week. DL must be hurting bad. Yeah, I'm twitching. Can you post a video on Proving Grounds? Probably not. No insult, Charlie Knife, but I'm limited on how many videos I can make in a week. I just run out of time, so probably look to the guys that do the news to get the news, and I'll follow up if there's anything that I think is relevant to help you guys. Jaxic says, that's what I'm doing with JKR. I hadn't built them yet, and not a good Jedi lead anyway. I'm stuck at an extremely capable 3.2 million GP. Yep. Grand Lacram says, do you refresh Conquest energy or just go ahead as it's regenerating? I definitely wanted... I couldn't remember on the Loquitur account if I had ever finished normal. I don't think that I had ever gotten to the end of Sector 5, and I knew I was approaching 4 million galactic power, and I wanted to make sure last Conquest that I touched the finish line. It took me 3 refreshes. There were 3 days where I did one single 50 energy refresh, and I got all the way to the end on the last day. So I was able to make it through all of Conquest. I did almost nothing for the feats. Because my main teams for progress are, of course, the JMK, and then my Sith team, either with Vader or C or both, they run out of stamina. And if you don't buy the pass, you do have more energy than you have stamina anyway. So that allowed me to go back to Sector 1 and create a team where I could do a couple of the feats. So I did a couple of the feats. So we had an all Sith team with no lead. So I could use this or a team like it, no leadership, get kills, and it's a Sith team. So whichever zone it was where you needed all Sith, or I don't remember the feats. But I used this team to help me, and then I was working on the Old Republic fleet quest, because I don't remember exactly how I did it, but I only did a couple of the feats. I did a couple of the feats, but that was on normal. On hard, there's just... I'm gonna see on Loquitur if I can get through hard Conquest all the way to the end with minimal refreshes. That would be good. But I'm not going to get many of the feats. So that's what I think it is. Once you start getting into doing the sector feats and doing the overall feats in hard, you have to do refreshes if you want it. So that's the thing. 999 of 1,000 Fleet Arena wins. one more to get to 1,000, huh? If you do quit, are you going to give it away? I won't give it away publicly. If I do let anybody play it, it will be privately. It's against the terms of service to let someone else play an account that was built in your name. So unless they've changed the terms of service and they would allow you to sell or give away your account, then I can't do that in good conscience. So if I did it, it would happen privately, and you'd never know who it was. They'd rename the account, and that would be that. So yeah, can't do it publicly. Jaxic says, I mean, essentially doing what you're talking about, except it's a different order, and it's dark side heavy, which is why Lord Vader is second GL. Doesn't Jedi Knight Luke give you a rebel fleet? Yes, but in the grand scheme of things, the rebel fleet, in my opinion, right now is pretty weak. Even at relic levels, when I play the rebel fleet, I take the rebel fleet on offense in GAC, and it struggles. It struggles against most other fleets now. The Empire fleet, with the addition of that new ship, and if you're at a lower level, the rebels do better at a lower level. But once you get where I am on my main account, even the Empire fleet now with that instant reinforcement, that's tough for the rebel fleet. It's tough. The TIE bomber with those flames just crush the rebel fleet. It can beat Negotiator or Malevolence, but there's certain points in the matchup where if the RNG goes badly for you, you can drop the match. So I'm not a huge fan of the rebel fleet, but yes, JML does give you a rebel fleet. Or I guess you're asking about Jedi Knight Luke, but yes, Jedi Knight Luke into JML. Charlie says you can definitely get into a guild much better than your account should realistically fall into. I'm 2 million GP and got an account that's 260 million in competitive because I built Geos and we'll go 5-0 first. Yep. What do you think of the $10 pack in the store that has 50 character shards and some decent ability materials? I hate buying character shards. So automatically I'm predisposed to hate it before I even look at it. So like this, 50 character shards, a Zeta material. This is what, 700 crystals? So that's $5 worth of Cairo. I mean, this node is so good. Okay, never buy this pack. Never buy this pack ever. You have to farm Django to get the Houndstooth anyway. You get Django twice as fast as you get Houndstooth. So why would you ever buy a pack with Django? Bosk. I could see buying that pack with Bosk. I don't agree that it's a 300% value. They value these Zeta materials ridiculously high. They value these Zeta materials at like $10 per Zeta, which is just stupid. I don't agree with their valuation on that at all. So this stuff, to me, all of these ability materials are worth 0. I value these in this at 0. This is 1 day. You could buy this for 1 day of fleet. Now, you know, technically a day and a quarter of fleet or whatever, but that's a day of fleet. And 50 shards is, I mean, it's not bad. Yeah, if you were in a hurry to get Bosk to 7 stars, you could buy it. It's not a horrible value, but I hate it. It's a $5 pack to me. It's $5 worth of Cairo with some character shards in it. I'd never buy it. This one, the Carbonite circuit boards are a very good value. The Bronzium wiring is a decent value. And the rest of it is a garbage value. But if you're a higher GP player, you've probably run into this problem where relicing characters, you're actually stuck looking for these Carbonite materials because you just don't farm enough of that stuff off the nodes, and the exchange rate is pretty terrible. So dropping 500 crystals on this is the Carbonite's a really good deal. I've bought that on my main account quite a bit. Do you think one should build squads around the requirements for a GL before or after unlocking the GL? Because it feels like it takes so much time building these squads first. After. Always after. So let's say you built JML. You can build any squad around JML and have a squad. And then you want to build the better version of the squad after. So I built the JMK, and then while I was farming the ultimate, I reliced the Cat, I reliced the Ahsoka, took Mace to a higher relic level. So I did that work on the team after I already had the Galactic Legend. And you have to farm the alt anyway, and that's 4 or 5. It's like, I think it took me almost 4 weeks to farm that alt on my Loquitur account. So it gives you time to start working on your other characters. Now, if you say to me, well, I'm going to finish the Galactic Legend for Rey, and then I'm going to start farming Scoundrels, that's not what you need to do. I mean, during the Rey journey, when you're doing your final, like, 3 or 4 relics, you should already have those characters at gear 10 to 12, working them up to the relic level. And during that time, you should be collecting shards for whatever characters you're going to build with Rey. And then by the time you finish the journey, you got Rey, and you say, okay, I'm going to do like this Vandor Chewbacca thing with Rey. You need to already have him at 7 stars. So don't start building a team, like start collecting the stars after you've got the GL. Collect that stuff during the journey, build the GL first, then relic those characters after. Okay. Man, you see with Gas and Padme and CLS, all Relic 5 clear. I cleared normal easily. Nice. Without any OR or Sith Empire. Just kept me from gold crating. Nice. Ray says, I think it's easy to overlook the advantage of having a much larger main account and 2 years of experience when advising players to build an account as if they had experience. I'm not sure I get your comment, Ray. I think it's easy to overlook the advantage of having a much larger main account when advising new players to build an account as if they had that experience. Yeah, I guess what you're saying, that maybe I don't bring it down to an easy enough level for people. I don't know. I mean, I started a new account this year for exactly that, to keep myself in touch with what the early game really feels like. I don't want to lose touch with what that looks like. And, you know, people saying you can't relic a character in 3 weeks. You know, I did it on the Loquitur account, and I felt like I could do it on a new account. And, you know, I'm relicing on the new account in 2 to 3 weeks. So, I mean, I haven't lost touch with how it works that far. And I think in terms of, like, talking to people based on the experience, hopefully that's what people want. They want to know how to play the early game based on somebody who knows how to play the whole game, I would hope. So I don't know. Maybe I'm missing the point of your comment, Ray. If you can clarify that for me, that'd be helpful. How do you feel about a Starkiller rush? Rogue Jedi, I think it's incredibly interesting. I actually think a Starkiller rush is interesting. But it's more of an academic exercise, right? I think it would be killer for Grand Arena. I think you'd build the 4 teams around the 4 characters that you have to relic. You'd build Starkiller. You'd build a team around him. You'd be unstoppable. You'd be in a Rhodium like fast. But you don't build fleets. And that is the killer with anything that doesn't build fleets early game. Even if it gets you the characters to just skyrocket through Grand Arena, you still end up in this position where you need 4 fleets and you don't have it. And it becomes such a disadvantage for you playing. I mean, even on the Loquitur account, I barely have 4 fleets. I have to split my Galactic Republic resources to get 4 decent fleets. And it's just a huge disadvantage for me. It puts me way behind. So that's the problem with the Starkiller first. I think it's fantastic. I think you would rock GAC with it. But yeah, maybe more viable when they're double drops. I actually made a plan for it. I mean, I planned out how I would do a Starkiller first journey, and it actually requires a springboard mechanic. So in order to do it, you pretty much have to sit at a low level and level your account up very slowly, build up the geos, get a bunch of stuff ahead of time, and then springboard into the build. And that way you can have your fleets already running and then go for Starkiller. Otherwise, it's too much of a sacrifice on fleets. If you didn't have geos up and running, you could never do it. With all the new content, I think if you're going to do anything around a GL build, it's going to be farm some of the teams that go with the Rex, like Troopers for C or JKR or JMK Grind. Well, guys, I'll just say it again. I've said it 100 times. While you're building a Galactic Legend journey, if there's 12 characters in the journey, you're going to relic 15 characters, right? You've seen me do it on the Loquitur account time and time again. I do it on the main account. I'm working on a sequence of events for the journey guide. But I always relic like 2 or 3 other characters while I'm doing it. You know, getting Enfys Nest to relic, she's not part of any journey, but I did that We did Snowtrooper, we did Spy. We relicked a bunch of other characters that weren't C or part of the journey for the account. So don't think of a journey as once I start on the C journey, I can only relic the characters that are in the C journey and nothing else. I got to put on my blinders, right? Now, you don't want to do everything else, but pick your spots, If you need something for fleet, go for it. If you built that relic Jedi Knight Anakin and you say, I'm going to put that in a Qui-Gon team, that's fine. But let's say you have a Padme team, you've gotten Kenobi going, he gets to 7 stars, and you're like, I want to relic him right away for fleet in the middle of the sea journey. All right. Hit him up. Put him at relic. What's stopping you? It's a detour of 2 to 3 weeks. Who cares? You guys got to look at it like that. You got to look at a journey for these Galactic Legends as a 6-month project, but it doesn't have to be the only thing you ever work on. You can still work on your account in other ways. All right. He's saying that, okay, so Charlie Knife's clarifying. He's saying that when you have already played the game, you understand everything and can see much further in the future compared to someone who really doesn't understand everything. Like if I look at a farming guide, I would need to understand the basics, like how to farm and where to get and how to fast resource, knowing the mechanics of the game. I get that, Charlie, but okay. Ray says, what I mean is not that a new player can't build a roster efficiently, but they simply don't know how to play against all the teams. If they're getting GLs early, they don't have your GAC experience. No, that's true. That's true, Ray. I get that. But let me say this. If you build good characters and you start paying attention to mods, how are you going to lose? You'll gain the experience playing in GAC. And just by having somebody like myself say, here's what a good account might look like, and if newer players follow that and build it, then they have the structure, right? Like I've built a box, and everybody has to color in whatever they want inside the box. But if you've got that box of good characters, if you understand what is effective to build. I looked at an account, I think it was even the last stream that we were on, and the guy had some pretty mediocre mods. And I said, well, you got to work on your mods, but the account's good. The characters that were built were good. The teams that he built were good. So you don't end up with this with a bad structure where you've got like 96 Gear 12 characters and you haven't reliced anything. I think that's the point. It's more like build the structure, help people. Because when I came to the game, here's the truth. When I came to the game, there really wasn't anything to help me understand whether or not I was on the right track. So what I want as a gamer is validation, right? Somebody to come out and say, you're building Grievous? Grievous is good. It's a good character to build. It's an A-tier character. You want that. And then I built SLKR. SLKR is a good thing to build. It's S-tier. It's what's good in the game. And so if I knew from the beginning somebody to tell me, build a fleet, but don't build every ship in the game, would have been nice. It's just my experience. It's hard to learn a team mechanic until you own that team and play it. That is true. There's only one way to get experience. Fellhammer says, watch DL for account building and Zareth for how to beat everything with it. That's fair, Fellhammer. I got a lot of respect for Zareth. He is good. He's good. Yep. Good resource. And people like Bit Dynasty, I think he's just got a lot of fantastic tactic stuff as well. Be all end all. Those guys are probably better at playing the game than I'll ever be. So yeah, for the gameplay stuff. And that's, guys, that's what my channel's about. There's plenty of people out there doing the gameplay stuff, but there's not many people going, what does good look like? What is a good account? How do I build a good structure? How do I maximize the resources in the game and know that I'm building something that's effective? Francisco says, what I always remind my friends is that it's a game. If you're going for a GL and let's say you unlock Maul and want to level him up and have fun, do it. It's a game. You can have fun and be effective. That's a very good point. Yeah, that's exactly right. If you get Maul and you're like, man, I'm going to put together a Maul team right in the middle of my Galactic Legend journey. Fine. That's fine. It's not a mistake. It's a good team. Build it. Charlie Knife says, I got into a good guild because of you. Thanks, DL. Yeah, nice. Ray says, watching Zareth with his 400 speed Zam doesn't help a 2 million GP account. GC hasn't started yet. All right, I think that's my call to action. We've been talking long enough. Jibber jabbering. Ooh, we've been talking a long time. Holy cow, guys. All right, let's get in here. Take a look at the Darth Loquitur stuff. All right, last round, we got a win against the Ike. We full cleared him. It came down to my JMK hanging on here for 3 battles. We did get a hold with that Marauder team again. Nice to see that people still underestimate that one every now and then. Got a hold with our C team. I imagine he brought something in, killed off Watt and this guy, and then came in and cleaned it up. Kind of like we have to do with no GL. And then in fleets, it was just stomping on my endurance fleet. We did get one hold with our Empire fleet too, so overall, pretty good performance. I think even if he could have cleared us, he would have dropped more matches. But Kenobi stands tall. So now we have DD-214 at 6.6 million galactic power, 2.8 in ships, 3.8 in characters. In terms of fleets, he's got Negotiator and Malevolence at 7 stars, Endurance, Radis, Chimera, Finalizers started. Two GLs with JML and Ray. 2 really good GLs. Skywalker, GTR, Revens, Relic 7 Malik, CLS. Wampa, no Omicron on the Wampa. In terms of the quality of his modding, 276 is his fastest non-GL character with Hermit Yoda. So here's a good example for you guys of somebody who built a good account and they just didn't put the time in on mods. So we have a massive advantage on mods. On speed, 269 is his 3rd fastest character. So yeah, this I mean, if my opponent watches this, you've done a good job building a lot of stuff in your account. Good characters, but work on those mods. Mod Mastery Series, Darth Loquitur. Look it up. It'll help you. Hey, Blessed Carrot's in the house. Hug from the other side of the ocean. Ha, how you doing, man? This account is heavy on the light side. Yeah, heavy on the light side is actually fine. Heavy on the dark side is a disadvantage right now. Most guilds are really looking for light side TB participation, so a dark side guild is dark side is less attractive for a guild. Light side heavy, I mean, he's got 2 teams that are going to do wave clears. One of them's Jedi, one of them's non-Jedi. But that's like 8 wave clears every round in territory battle, so that's good. Hey DL, would you go for JMK as a first if you were around 3 million GP? What with Cat being locked behind 4 million GP? I'm not a fan of going for JMK. I think if you do SLKR first, if you've got SLKR, GAS, and Executor, if you've got those 3 things, then JMK is fine. But SLKR, Executor, GAS, I think those 3 things are key components of any account, whether you're at 0 GP or 3 million GP. So if I was at 3 million and had no GLs, I would still build SLKR first. Again, with the current meta, a year from now, that might be different. Hey DL, I never asked, did the Rey Chewie Han work for you on defense? On my main account, we're only having 3 kinds of fights. We're having the kind of fight where it's a fair matchup, and then it comes down to banners. And in those, my Rey gets one-shotted almost every time. But I don't care. It's pulling his JMK or some, one of his best teams. We're having the ones where the opponent doesn't play, and we get a win, and then I don't get to see what my defenses are doing really. And then the third is the kind where we're just outgunned and outmuscled, and if they play, they just destroy us, and then it's not meaningful. So I haven't noticed. Rey hasn't held anything up. The Rey Han Chewie hasn't held anything up, but it's fine. I'm leaving it that way. All right, moving back to this guy. So 2 GLs. Oops, that's not what I want. 2 GLs, etc. Way over me on GP. So this is another one of those ones where, I mean, either one of us could win. I've got him on mods, but he's just got so much more stuff in his account. If he put both of his GLs on defense, we're probably done. There's one of them. He put the Rey there. So if he put the JML over here, he did not. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to cruise through the bottom. And, yeah, that's it. We'll work our way through bottom, and if we can come back up top, we could probably get this with Mon Mothma. We could probably kill Mon Mothma with Nest. This is beatable. That's beatable. And then we just have to think about what could we possibly do against Rey. Do we have any chance whatsoever? I mean, Qui-Gon? Does Qui-Gon doesn't do anything, right? This isn't promising. Alrighty, thank you for doing that. Ahead of the GAC, I'm just going to restart all 3 of my BlueStacks instances. Reduce the chance of crashing at this point. If that one's crashing out, the other ones might be too. Let's just hit some restarts here. Fellhammer, were you the guy in the video where DL and some guy just went through mods and slicing and sold mods? Fellhammer says, yep. Treya wakes up from a nap. Yeah. Yep, I was in there earlier. I saw you napping. Fellhammer, I love videos like that where it's just a massive building spree. So entertaining. Well, Fellhammer and I got another video we worked on, so maybe we'll work on more of those in the future. Make it a thing. Qui-Gon Jinn, Omicron doesn't work against GLs. Oh, yeah, that's right. So can't do anything against Rey. Hey DL, do you know a few cheap counters for CLS, C3PO, and 3PO, and I assume the last one's 3PO and Chewie. Recovery. If you take in a Padme team with something there and let CLS shoot you a couple times. I mean, you feed him turn meter and stuff, but you can recover, you can kill the other guys. The assists, the attacks out of turn, constantly give you protection up, so it's hard for him to kill you. Or just bring in enough damage like a Jedi Knight Revan. Target the Chupio, kill him, and kill off CLS next. So some kind of team that can recover a little bit, I think, is all you need. If you take in something like Troopers, he can just run you down and start killing your guys. So you got to have some kind of recovery. Did you enter a battle when it crashed? No. I was just setting up. Just setting up to look at some stuff. Clicked a button, and out it went. Okay. Let's try that again. Okay, let's get down here. We do have a Qui-Gon team to deal with. We've dealt with this team with Mara Jade pretty effectively. He doesn't have an Anakin, and his stuff is pretty slow. So let's put up this Mara Jade team and see if that's what we want to do. Feel like that's going to be the answer. Let's check these speeds. They get 30 speed on top of it, right? So 269. Did he have Zetas on this guy? Let's take a look. 262. All 3 Zetas. So he'll have a bunch of counterattacks. And then 145 on her. So basically, pass a turn and just go after him. Qui-Gon will actually be hard to... Well, once we get shock on him, it'll be fine. No Anakin in the Qui-Gon? Yeah. Now, if you ever put Qui-Gon on defense, you really, really, really have to commit the Anakin to that defense. Otherwise, it really has a lot less threat. Alright, here we go. Let's pass a turn to Mara Jade. Let's, oh, yeah. We figured this out last time on the main account. It got a little dicey. But we should still be good. Just got to start a turn later. Oh! 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 That counterattack was too much. Okay. That counterattack was too much. Okay, let's get the kick in here. We'll get Qui-Gon down. Shock. Kick. Get him down. Pass it over. Kick him again. Just stay on Mace. Okay. Just keep going. Ouch. Kick her. Get shock on. I don't think we're going to be able to recover all the way on Thrawn, but 63 banners. That's okay. DL, that video you did with Philosopher was great, where you just did a massive building spree with him. Wow, you guys really like that stuff, huh? Yeah, that was fun. It stunk that he ran out of that like Mark 10 HoloLens. It just kind of held everything up, but yeah, he was gonna go crazy with it. Yeah. Really, you guys really like the building spree stuff, huh? Need advice on 5 of 12 characters at Relic for SLKR grinding, but I'm feeling burnt out. Should I take a break and Relic 5 first? Relic 5's first. Just Relic 5's Relic Shock T and run it as a 2 Relic team and then get back to business with your GL run. Finish out the GL and then come back and finish out the last of the clones. That would be my advice. So take a break from your GL journey, but don't take a complete break from it. Dooku. Man, I don't think it got the Omicron. Does the Omicron deserve enough respect for a Wat Tambor? I think it might. Except Wat Tambor is on defense with my C. Why do I seem to always forget that? Alright. We're going to do Dooku and we're going to make him a Jedi Master. Here we go. Okay, alright. Let's get on this Elder here. Master's Training. Fantastic. Let's see if we can get a stun on Chirpa. That's good. Get counterattack in here on the Pappy Lou. Looks like I may have to kill Paplu first. Now this is going slower than I thought. Which means, unfortunately, we're going to have one turn with Yoda out of stealth. Which I do not want. Okay, they're not going after him, so that's good. See if we can get a stun on Elder here. Don't resurrect that Paplu. Okay. Grandmaster Dooku. Pulling in the victory. 56 banners, I think. Flash by, I didn't see it. Alright. A BAM team with Grief and IG. Without Queel, IG is not really a threat, right? So we got to bring in something that team has a lot of recovery. We can't underestimate it by too much. Maybe our junky little Padme team. Come in there and take care of this. I use Dooku just like you do. He's amazing. Big Miss, how do you have him modded? I have mine modded for tenacity so that he can solo like that. Do you you do tenacity or what do you do? Should be able to clear the taunt. Good. Good. Cleared the. Oh, I should have done the. I should have done the buff up so that I don't lose banners. Try to protect those banners. Get a stun? Yeah, good. 57 banners. Ah, the Dooku battle should have been 58 banners then. DL stealing my big gulp. Darth Treya. How many half-drank drinks I'll let you guys in on a little secret. Oh, my wife, bless her heart, she gets like she drinks 8 ounces of soda. So you'll find a 12-ounce soda can with 4 ounces still left in it, forgotten somewhere on a table or a side table aside the couch or the bedstand, the bathroom, wherever that last sip happens. That's where you find the half-drank drink. So with that in mind, honey, I was doing you a huge favor by drinking your big gulp. I just took it down to the level where you wanted it. That's all. You wanted a little gulp. You just didn't know it. All right. What are we gonna do against these Geos? Sunfac and Poggle, huh? We could nest this. We got Treya. Do we have something that's tanky? Or Treya could just let them kill themselves? We can just throw nest in here too. Just chuck the nest in and be done with it. I don't think we have a tank that's tanky enough. Throw in a couple relic clones, I guess. Yeah. Suppose we could just do Vader. Play it safe. We'll just run nest down here. And we'll try to mess with the... We just got to get through the bottom. Absolutely have to get through the bottom here. So we'll do this. It's a sure thing. I don't want to waste my troopers here. I could easily clear this with the troopers, but kind of want to get to the back wall. If he goes through top... So here's the deal, guys. Here's the strategy. If I go through bottom, and I clear both zones, he goes through top and clears the ships, I'll have more banners than him. So that's why we're trying to make sure that we get the bottom cleared, still with teams to work on the top. I can't afford a dropped battle against Geos because then that equation falls apart. Darth Treya says, I'll pour another and give you half. Nice. Blessed Carrot says, is it a wife thing? Maybe Miss Treya is a cousin of my wife. That's funny. My GAC today was a solo festival. Nest, OG Kylo, Boba Relic 8, and Darth Vader. Nice. I have 2 potency sets and a tenacity set on his Dooku. 2 potency sets. That's pretty good strategy. Yeah, just make sure that your stun always sticks. That's pretty good. Fellhammer says, my wife is similar. She'll open a Coke can, take 1 sip, put it down, and leave it, never touch it again. Yeah, well, I don't think it goes to a fully undrank drink. But yeah, we have a joke around the house about half-drank drinks. Or at least I have a joke. My wife probably would say she just has an annoying husband about half-drank drinks. My daughter, to her credit, usually drinks her drinks. She just leaves the can there. So, all right, Nest, come on. Let's get this done. Relic Brood Alpha is kind of a pain in the butt, even for Nest. Do you need a 7-star Xander Do Blood for Finalizer event? Do you need a 7-star Xanadu Blood for the Finalizer event? If the Xanadu Blood is part of the Finalizer, yeah, I think you do. I think you need all those ships at 7 stars. Yes, I believe that's the case. So to qualify for the Finalizer event, it only needs to be 4 stars. Once you qualify, the pack in the shop, or does the pack in the shop just show up automatically for everybody? Yeah, I think that one does. Okay, so yeah, so you can start the journey at 4 stars, but I think you need 7 stars to unlock the final tier. Been a while since I've done that journey. Okay, come on, Brood Alpha. Get on out of here. There we go. We got him. Okay. Pretty good clears so far. See what we got on the back here. Okay. Little Iden team. This is interesting. You've got Akbar Omicron with Chirrut and Cara Dune. Weird. How does that even work? Does he have a skill that's not a special, or that's not an attack? Equalize, dispel, heal over times. Okay, alright. So that works. When he does that skill, he'll trigger the Omicron. So this Iden team is a thing. What do we have that beats Iden? Shock and some clones, maybe? There's some assists there, but not too much. Oops. Clone troopers. We could put in him and Cody Echo. Echo's got the grenade. It's decent area effect damage. He's not relic yet, though. Maybe I just go like this and just basic him down. Don't want to call assists or anything until we have to. We'll use her healing if we have to, but otherwise we'll bring in some big guns and we'll just do single target smash down. No last second nest drama today. Ooh, man. That had me sweating. That battle with Nest on my main account on my last stream, for anybody who doesn't know. I literally, Nest defeated Kenobi, and it was 1 second. 1 second left. The 1 second was actually ticking down. It was like a half a second. I didn't think I was going to get it. All right, let's just do this. I get turn meter, but oh well, that did nothing. That was sad. Okay, do this. Just single attacks. Now we can try to cleanse and heal up. See if we can slow roll her a little bit. Get healing. Get dazed. Oh, she's stunned now. Alright, I don't know. Come on, guys. I don't think we're going to get many banners back here. Just finish it off. 55. That Iden team is... I feel like that team's a good threat. Even at really low gear levels, it's a good threat. Alright, so we still got Qui-Gon, we still got troopers, we got lots of stuff. I think maybe this is a Geo battle. We'll go with something like Poggle lead, Spy. And... or we could just do... could just do Geos. I don't know if I'm going to need to cleanse buffs or not. My Gear 8 Iden has gotten 5 holds in a row and is the reason I win some GACs. Ethan Keating says she's not scary till relics. She is, Ethan. If you underestimate that character, if you don't go in with a good team with enough damage to beat those troopers with just single target attacks, they will wipe you out. It is a good team. It's a good team. Well, just put it this way. There's 2 Omicrons that you can put on 3. Okay, I'll rephrase. There's 3 Omicrons that you can put on characters at relatively low gear and get a huge payout, right? Qui-Gon Jinn. The Omicron is based on speed, not stats. So just by having characters that have any kind of normal or even decent speed, they get a huge upgrade to their offense. Pays out at very low gear. Iden, again, because of all the recovery they have, if your opponent brings in any team that has assists, they win. So pays out at a very low gear level. And then the third one is Mara Jade. In Territory Wars, I realize it's not a GAC centered Omicron, but in Territory Wars, just insane the value of that Omicron. Speaking of Iden, I think I have Iden on offense, right? Does she? No, I put Iden. Oh man, I don't remember. I know I did it on my main account. I think I put Iden on offense. Oh yeah, so we got Iden on offense here too. So we have 2 trooper teams that we could be using. Let's go back up top and take a look. Because we got to get some good clean wins up top too. So Treya, Vader, and something up here. Maybe use Iden here? No. We need to use a serious team against this. I think we trooper this. Let's look at our normal troopers to beat this battle. That should be fine, right? We just hit the armor on Bosk. Link. Mass assist. Should kill Bosk. Let's take a look at the health protection here. 56. That is a lot of protection. Holy cow. So, what is that? 93 something? What's Bosk look like? Oof. That's a pretty beefy Bosk. He's at 150 already at Relic 2. Okay. Skip that. Kill him first. I hate having to put the armor shred on him first, but we will because we want to get 2 clean kills on him when we need them. And then we'll probably have to fight it out against Django because we won't be able to sustain the turn meter through. Maybe we'll get 2 kills on the turn meter. Alright, it'll be fine though. Because then we can drain their turn meter and mass assist kill Bosk. Should be good. Let's get in there. Don't forget those lightsabers. Yeah, thanks for the reminder because right now we are not at enough lightsabers to power these troopers. There's a risk I might lose this, and if I do, it's going to be because you guys didn't throw down the likes. How does that make you all feel? Okay. Let's drain the turn meter on Bosk. Because we can always just come back to him and get a kill. We've got a lot of turn meter though, right? So get the turn meter there. Take a shot with an assist. Now we can take shots here. We'll do the area effect. And then we've got to go over here to get turn meter again. Back over here. Slash his armor. You guys are doing it. You're doing it. You're getting the likes in there. We might win this. Alright. We didn't win it because of your likes, though. Troopers pulled that one out of protest. Alright, we've got the Mon Mothma team. I may not beat this, honestly. Oh, I can... That's good for the Iden team, right? The Iden team is fantastic there. Alright, alright, alright. So if we save the Iden team... We've got Jedi to work with. We've got Vader. We've got Qui-Gon. Our own Mon Mothma team. Which is, granted, pretty weak. 47,000 here. Alright, so let's work our way through this. Revan here. And maybe we can use a smaller version of the Revan team. There is no smaller version of the Revan team though, right? I mean, we just got to go in with the goods. Because only got 1 damage dealer. Alright, let's get in there. Let's take out Armor first because we just don't want to deal with her nonsense. We don't want everybody getting all kinds of stacks of Beskar. That would not help our plan. We'll do this and hope to protect against some Bo-Katan shenanigans. Okay. That was useful. Do a basic over here. Call him for a basic. Do buffs again. Call Revan. 56 banners. As good as can be expected. Okay. Clones here. Do clone on clone action. Probably have to get the sacrifice here. I think they're going to have enough damage to sacrifice my 5s out. It's okay with us, though. It's okay with me, anyway. Hope it's okay with you guys. Should have waited on that grenade, but that's fine. Okay, we'll try to get Echo out of here first. The healing immunity is pretty annoying. We really need to get another turn over here with Echo. Alright, well, there you go. Sacrifice is in. Echo didn't suffer too badly from it. Ah, man, I did it again. I need to wait until after he does the dazes to do that cleanse. It's all good, though. We got so much speed from the sacrifice that we're in good shape. Fine, though. It's a win. So we've got Qui-Gon. We've got Vader. Vader solo here. Vader's got to be able to solo this, right? The Executioner can't be that hard to kill. Yeah, this has got to work. This has got to work. We could get stunned into the dirt if we don't kill him right away, but I feel like as long as we kill this guy right away, stuns shouldn't be too bad. Alright. We massacred them mercilessly. Clean win on the back zone. One shot at everything, got good banners. Alright, up front, Mon Mothma versus Iden Versio. Do you have a video about low gear, low investment teams to build in the early game? No. I think we just stick with the idea of good account building. I did some work on some single relic teams and put some information out there, but if you do a bunch of single relic teams that help you get higher in Grand Arena, it helps you score higher in Grand Arena, and that's it. That's what happens. So if you want teams that are going to do more for you than just Grand Arena, then those teams actually become, I won't say a waste of time, but not efficient use of your resources. So the most efficient use of your resources is just to build the teams that you want. To build the teams that you're always going to want. Alright, this should get it. Kill Wedge. Good. So for example, if you want to build a Relic 5s and a bunch of clones, it's going to be a good investment because it'll work as a single Relic team. It'll work for a long time. It's not a waste of your resources. If you build like a single Relic Padme team with Jedi Knight, Anakin, Relic, same thing. You're going to want to work on those characters someday. But to pick out other teams that aren't that good, it's harder. This is the last battle we got, so we just go in with Qui-Gon and tear it up, right? Watching your streams after unlocking C, you said you wouldn't use a GL defense against a non-GL opponent. Earned my first thumbs up. 2 GACs later, you started placing C against no GLs. What changed? I'm just placing a standard defense right now, guys. I've shared this with y'all. Playing 3 accounts is a lot, so I am no longer spending a lot of time scouting my opponents and trying to figure out the best way to play against them. For the most part, in my grand arenas, I look at the opponent, and it doesn't matter. If it's a fair matchup, this defense is going to work. If it's not a fair matchup and they've got tons more stuff than me, then, well, I try to cut it down to a 2-zone at most win. So, actually, I think it was 2 Loquitur updates ago, I explained my logic for it. I basically put C in this zone, and then I took 2 other teams that were in this zone. I think the Iden team was there, and Qui-Gon Jinn team was there. And I took them on offense because I just didn't have enough offense. So I put a better team on defense, put in a junk team here. So I replaced my defenses to take more stuff on offense. Because the Iden and the Qui-Gon, I mean, you saw it that round of Grand Arena right there. The Iden ran over Mon Mothma, and the Qui-Gon team, could have beat the hardest thing that he put down pretty much. So I felt like we needed more offense. That's the long and short of it. And even though C is great for offense, putting him on defense frees up more teams for offense. I also took the Geos off the back wall, all the Separatist stuff, and put that on offense. So I've got my Geos on offense now too. So laziness, that's what it is. It's laziness. Are you attempting the last fight in that zone? No, that's Galactic Legend Rey, right? So a Relic 8 GL Rey with both of my Galactic Legends on defense, I have nothing to beat this. My C could beat it, but I have nothing to beat it. So that's an unbeatable team for me. Not even going to waste time. Sorry, I'm relatively new. What beats Rey? I heard lightsabers beat Rey. Yeah, we're still pathetic on the lightsabers, folks. I don't mean to call you all out on this, but it ain't that hard to click the like button. It does help me out quite a bit. And only about half the people that are in here have bothered to do that. So if y'all could do that, I would appreciate it. Sincerely. I would appreciate it. So Galactic Legends beat Rey. In 3v3, I'm actually not up to date on the non-GL counters. I imagine Starkiller can probably beat her. I imagine What else? Rey is just rough in 3v3. She is a premium defense in 3v3. She is hard to get around. I don't think the Geo's counter works. You just don't have enough turns to stack up spies damage. So yeah, guys, I honestly don't know. I don't know if there's many off-meta counters for Rey that aren't just absolutely bonkers characters like Starkiller or a GL. C beats Rey. Yeah, Sith Eternal. As long as your Sith Eternal has enough damage to soak the ult, that battle goes in C's favor pretty much every time. I think that the sentiment of sending no GLs against an account that doesn't have a GL was an act of goodwill, so your opponent had at least a bit of fun. Yeah, that's honestly, in the old system, there were opponents where I wouldn't put it. In the old system, I had a lot more opponents that talked to me, right? Players that were on the same level and that we would chat like ahead of or during the matchup. Now I rarely get comments back from people even if I message them. So there's a lot less of that. But yeah, I mean, I would, especially if my opponent like knew who I was and acknowledged it and whatever, I would try to play it a little bit differently. Should I not place my C on defense when my opponent doesn't have a GL? No, you should play to win. You should play to win. C is not a great defender. Out of all the GLs, he's probably the weakest on defense overall. But he's a GL, and most people can't beat him. Things like gas. If you try to take gas in against C, he just destroys gas. He can solo gas. So he has an advantage against some of the teams that counter him even. Teams like Troopers can beat him, whatever. So there's plenty of stuff that can beat C. But if you look at your opponent and your opponent doesn't have like a Relic 8 Dark Trooper, put C on defense, he's pretty much as good as any other Galactic Legend at that point. What's the best way to say this? I got an itch on my ear. Let's say you had two GLs like SLKR and C. You bring in a team, you clear off all the ads, and you're just facing the GL. In that scenario, C is really weak. When he's got a team of 5, though, or 3, he's not easy to beat in one shot. Your opponent still has to two-shot him, and oftentimes that's enough. Lord Vader is weaker than C on defense. Francisco, that is not true. Where'd you hear that? It's not true. Lord Vader is a monster on defense. I know you guys have seen him get beaten with people that have like Relic 9 Bosk and Relic 9 Fennec Shand and those kinds of counters. And then you've probably seen a streamer that just yells and screams because, you know, that GL is so hard to build and is beat by such lame characters. But guys, there's not a lot of people that have Relic 9 Bosk and Relic 8 or 9 Fennec Shand. At least, not that I've seen. The guys at the top of the game can commit to those resources, but people in the mid-game, Lord Vader is a monstrosity to try to beat. We cleaned him up with Troopers on the main account in the last GAC, but we also could have cleaned up C with that. So, yeah, my Lord Vader is getting better. Beat Lord Vader today with Relic 7 Fennec, Relic 0 Grief plus Mando. Relic 7 Fennec, I mean, if you've got it. If you've got a Relic 7 Fennec, then probably I won't put Lord Vader on defense. The thing is, he had Relic 3 Ninth Sister and Relic 3 Royal Guard as ads. That is absolutely the truth. If we look at my main account, We're getting there. We're getting there with our team. But, like, I'm placing him in Grand Arena with Relic 7 Maul and a Relic 7 Trooper. I'm going to take this guy all the way to 9, I think. Take him all the way to 9 and make him a real pain for people to deal with. If these characters are lower relic, it's a lot easier. But if you have a Relic 9 Royal Guard, he pretty much needs to be executed or he's ridiculous. You can beat this team with SLKR plus Watt, for example. SLKR can ramp up his damage, keep ramping, and can get through before Vader can stop him. So, I mean, it's not an unbeatable team, but I don't think he's bad. I will tell you he's horrible on offense, to my opinion. I would rather have him on defense and, you know, maybe get him beat by an SLKR or something like that. But on offense, his damage is pretty sad. So if you take on a team with a lot of recovery, you may not even win with Lord Vader. He may just sit there for 5 minutes and never get a kill. If I take on Kenobi teams, given a long enough timeline, I would beat every Kenobi team with my Lord Vader. But 5 minutes isn't enough, you know? Just times out. So that's why I feel like I have to use him on defense, because I can't afford to take him on offense, put him up against a good team, and have him time out. C is harder to clean up in 5v5, but that's my opinion. My Lord Vader doesn't have the ult yet, so I didn't try him on offense yet. Would you say Lord Vader is in a good place? And what would you change about him? When they had the mistaken thing where all characters benefited from the no crits, I actually thought he was in a pretty good place right there. It didn't... I mean, think about it. If you couldn't crit the characters on his team, the Fennec Shand counter wouldn't work. The SLKR, when that was going on, SLKR couldn't beat him. When they changed it, I think he just dropped like a rock in terms of his effectiveness on defense. So I think up to that point he was fine. He was beatable. He was even beatable by some off-meta stuff. But it was hard. It was especially if you had high relics, it was a really hard team to deal with. Now that they've changed that, I think he's too easy. Yeah. I don't think he's so... Once you get him to a good enough relic level and his team to a good enough relic level, then I think he's better than C on defense, okay? I don't think he's as good as he could be. I think of a GL is unbeatable. The game loses fun. Almost did with JMK. C may be harder to clean up, but he's cheaper to one-shot with an off-meta counter. People hate on him because it's a trend. Lord Vader is still great. I'm just sad that C is not the GL he used to be before the nerfs. And his counters against JMK and Rey. Yeah, I think the counter against Rey is not bad at all. I feel comfortable in the counter. You just have to have enough health on your SLKR to weather her ult. And nobody, at a high level, nobody puts Cat with Rey because she's with JMK. So putting Cat with the Rey, if she gets to her ult and kills C's guys and Rey is in the team, she can one-shot C. So that can be pretty scary. But without Cat in the team, Relic 8 high health C will beat Rey every time, I feel like. Let's be honest though, Lord Vader, regardless of how good or bad he is, he's still the coolest looking GL. Guys, his ult is insane. I don't know how they do it, honestly. But in his ult, when he goes into his ult, you see the shadow of all of the other characters in his team behind him. And it is the characters, it's whoever you have specifically in the team. Like, I was playing in the territory battles, and I had that droid that you can summon. And I did my ult, and the droid was in there too. And you could see him in the background. And it's like a head-on, not like the ISO that you see in the game, but it's just like a head-on of all the characters in his team at their respective heights, like however tall they are. So you see that robot in the background, and he's massively tall. It is one of the coolest animations in the game. Don't you see the same shadows with JMK's ult? You might. I have JMK. Maybe I just didn't notice it on JMK. But I definitely notice it on Vader. Yeah, if it's the same thing on JMK, but anyway, it's that is cool. The fact that they can have like any character that you put in his team and they're shadowed in the background. I don't know how they pull that off. It's fantastic. Yep. All right, well, I put a topic in the title. I said gameplay and story time about putting money to your work even if you think you're broke. So I'm going to tell a story. It's going to be relatively quick. And this is about the same kinds of things that we talk about in Galaxy of Heroes, but it's real life. And maybe if some people hear this, they might do something different that'll help them. I'm not going to give anybody advice whenever you're talking about money and finances and things that affect your bank account. You can't really give advice on that stuff unless you're a financial advisor. So right at the start of this, let me give the disclaimer that none of this is meant to be advice on what you should do or how you should do it. It's simply going to be me telling a story, and you can take whatever you want away from it. So, when I got out of college, I was a degreed chemical engineer. And as an engineer, I like spreadsheets, I like numbers, and I had looked at retirement stuff ahead of time. And before I even got a job, I put together a spreadsheet on the concept of retirement. I'd heard from my grandparents and other people that Social Security was a farce, that you didn't get enough money to live on, that people had to take care of themselves, all this stuff. So I had looked into it, and I figured it. I mean, everybody who is smart about finance knows the way things work with compound interest and knows the risk of how loans work, which is the opposite of compound interest. Okay? So going in, I knew that I wanted to front load as much money as possible into my 401k. Now the government sets a limit on how much money you can put in your 401k every year. So I decided, going into my first job, that I would respect that limit, and I would just put in that much. So my first job out of college, I was making between $30,000 and $40,000. I won't give you guys specific numbers, but it wasn't that much. And I walked in the door, and at the time, the maximum allowed limit was something like $12,000. And I put in 36% of my earnings into my 401k, which calculated out to be close to the maximum allowed amount. The HR person thought I actually made a mistake, and she called me back and said, "Did you mean 3% or 6%? Like, what's going on here?" And I said, "No, it's 36%. Now, if you give up more than a third of your salary. Think about, for those making money right now, people watching this that have jobs and make money and take care of their families or whatever. Do you think you could commit 36% to your 401k? And people are probably going to say, no, that's crazy. I couldn't live without that money. But the truth is you can. I drove a real modest car. I lived in a real modest apartment. And it was just me and my bills and going to the gym. And that was, I made so many sacrifices. You guys don't even know. I mean, I grew up with nothing. And so when I got out of college, I just went back to living with nothing. And I said to myself, I'm going to get ahead and it's going to make everything easy later on. So that's what I did. A lot of companies have matching on a 401k. If you're sitting here watching this video and for any reason you don't know if you have a 401k or what your matching is like, then you need to empower yourself. You need to go gather information, educate yourself on what you can get. I've even got a lot of people working for me at the factory that don't put in enough in their 401k to take advantage of the company matching. So if the company's going to, let's say maybe your company's policy is they match half up to 6%. So if you put in 6%, the company just hands you a 3% raise. And people put in 2% into their 401k, and they just lose out on 2% of the money they could be getting. Okay? When you put money in your 401k, it reduces your taxable income. The remaining money that you make is taxed at the lowest possible bracket. So for people who make a decent income, putting more into your 401k actually reduces the amount of taxes that you pay. Knowing that you're going to take your money out later in life when you're not actually having income, again, you withdraw it and you pay taxes on it starting at the lowest possible rate. If you just take the money that you put into your 401k, and you guys are going to have to take your word on this, I'm not going to show you all the math, but the second you put your money into your 401k, for the average person with an average salary, your money is worth 27% more just based on paying less taxes, both when you put it in and when you later withdraw it. So the money goes in before taxes, and it's not considered taxable income. That's the government's thank you to you for saving your money and being responsible, which makes every dollar that you put in worth $1.27. So if you save $10,000 in your 401k, it's the virtual future equivalent of $12,700. Not sure about you guys, but that's a pretty big deal to me. The next thing, most workplaces have a loan program. And if they don't have a loan program, often if they go through a company like Magellan or Fidelity, they may offer a loan program. So I put the maximum allowed contribution into my 401k for 4 years, after which time I took a loan on my own money. Now, again, if you just withdraw from your 401k, you have to pay a bunch of taxes and penalties, and it's abusive. So don't make a withdrawal. Only do this if you can take a loan. And then you start paying yourself back the loan. I used it to buy a house. Pretty responsible use of my money. I got a down payment for a house from my own money without having to go to the bank for that part. Made a 20% down payment, which allowed me to avoid paying PMI on my mortgage, which is mortgage insurance, which is a complete ripoff and insanely expensive. As long as you own at least 20% of the value of your home, you can forego PMI. So that's good. You want to do that. And you do it with your own money. Then when I started paying back, I paid it back at a really high rate, and I just lowered my contribution. So instead of contributing $12,000, I did the repayment plus my contribution ongoing at the same level. Never saw a change in my income, and afforded my first house. Paid that loan back in 4 years. 5 years later, took out another loan, bought another house. 5 years later, took out another loan, bought another house. People talk about diversity in investments. Now you've got a 401k building. Each time you want a better house, you don't take money out of your 401k and go buy a rental property. You move yourself from the house you're in. You upgrade to a better house. You rent out the old house that you were in. Now you're in real estate. 2 or 3 cycles of that, you find yourself with 2 or 3 rental houses and $1 million in your 401k. And you'll be so far ahead of everybody else in your life around you. And all it took was just a few years of sacrifice there at the start. So, can I afford to spend on SWGOH? Yeah, I can. I can. But I think for anybody out there who's not making their money go to work, needs to think about this. I think if you think you're broke, you can do it this way. Again, I've talked to people about this and just explained a way to do it. It's not advice. You can take or leave whatever I'm saying here. But each year when you get your raise, get a 2% raise, put 5% more in your 401k. Next year, get a 3% raise, put 5% more in your 401k. All it takes is living for 3 or 4 years on the same income, which you can easily do. And you'll be up to 25% contribution on your 401k, and you'll be building whatever you want for your future. Now, if you take a loan on your 401k and go buy something dumb with it, that's not good. But let's say the other purpose for which I've taken a loan on my 401k was to pay off credit card debt. When I married my wife, we had some credit card debt between the two of us. We cleared that up. And you pay yourself back, you pay interest back to yourself, and you don't pay interest to a credit card company. So you have to be smart. You can't just take a loan and buy a better car. That's dumb use of your money and it won't get you ahead. Cars lose value from the moment that you buy them. But that's it. Anybody can do that savings plan. Very few people I know can put money in a savings account and actually save it and not see it there and spend it on something. But you put it in a 401k, it's gone. You really don't have access to it. It's a huge benefit for you in terms of leverage and money. And as long as there's a loan program available to you, you can still use it. You can still use your own money, make it go to work. Yeah. Are matching pension schemes very different to a 401k? I'm in the UK. I couldn't possibly know any of the stuff in the UK. Ethan Keating says, I'm 21 with my own business doing contract work for new construction homes. How would I even start this 401k? In that case, you would look to do a Roth IRA for sure. You can go to Fidelity or anybody, financial advisors, and they'll tell you what's available. A Roth style IRA, you put in after-tax money. It works a little bit differently. Maybe you can even put in before tax money, I'm not sure. But yeah, you have to go to a financial advisor to find out those kinds of things. But let's say you wanted a 401k for your business and for your employees. You would just approach one of the giants and get in with them on some kind of program that they offer. Yeah, you just basically you sponsor the 401k and then let Magellan run it for you. And typically, they're not going to charge an employer anything for a 401k program. Once they have your money, they invest it, they move it around. Every time they buy and sell, they take a commission. So they take 8% of what they buy and sell, for example, whatever it is. And let's say you got a 17% return on your account. You probably paid them another 7%. But who cares? You know, they invest their money. They take their profit from the investing itself. Doesn't cost the business anything. Those kinds of things should be available. Have you seen the price of gas lately? I can put gas into my 401k. If you put gas in your 401k, Once something is high, the most likely next move is for it to go down. So if you put gas in your 401k, it's more likely to decrease in value than increase. Yep. I like story time like this. It makes your content unique. I feel a little bit smarter too. They don't teach this stuff in high school. Well, Manuel, they don't teach it in college either. They don't teach it at all. And if people don't self-educate on this kind of stuff, if people don't know what's possible, then you would never know. And I mean, getting a good job just unlocks, it unlocks your potential to be self-sufficient outside of your salary at work. And I don't typically swear on my stream or get put in content that gets any videos banned. To this point, I've never had a video demonetized. But in my younger days, I referred to it as FU money. And I always thought to myself, by the time I'm 40 years old, I want to have enough in my 401k that if at any time I feel like my ethics, my whatever who I am is being threatened at work, I can just literally say F you, walk out, and I don't have to worry. You know, I'll get another job, and in the meantime, I've got enough money to carry me through to whatever's going to happen. And that was my goal. I mean, honestly, when I got out of college, when I first started this savings program, I wasn't trying to get rich. I just wanted to put myself in a position of power where my job didn't own me. You know, there's people with house payments, car payments. If they lose their job, they lose everything. And I didn't want to be one of those people, you know. Seen it growing up. We were on a farm. We were mortgaged to the hilt on everything, tractors, blah, blah, blah. You had a bad year with bad crops. You couldn't make your payments. Man, I did not want to be anywhere near that kind of lifestyle. So my first motivation was just to have enough money to be, so that work didn't own me. So that was it. What happens when the global banking system collapses? Why would that happen? Yeah, I mean, if the global banking system collapsed, it would be... There is no such thing as money. Just to be clear, the idea of money is only influence, and spending money is trading influence, right? So, 1,000 years ago, let's say 2,000 years ago, whatever, Roman times, if you wanted cucumbers, you had to have something to trade for it, right? And let's say you were a horse farmer, and you're like, well, I'll trade you a horse for cucumbers. Well, how much cucumbers do you want for a horse? It better be like your whole year's crop of cucumbers. I'm not giving you a horse without 1 million cucumbers. And you just can't make a transaction, right? You're stuck. You can't trade what you have of value for what he has of value. So the idea of money is just, okay, the horse is worth $1,000, the cucumber's worth $1. If somebody gives me 1,000 theoretical somethings, then I can give you one theoretical something for a cucumber and we're settled. So the idea of money is only as good as we, the people, give it credit for. So if we say it's worth something, if we believe that, then money has value. It's a trade of influence. I have it, I give it to you, you believe in it, it works. So if the global banking system ever collapses, it's only going to be because we, as people, have somehow lost faith in the system. Because if we don't lose faith in the system and the system collapses, they just make more money and remake the system, right? Like, it can't possibly fail because there's nothing there anyway. It's only a system of belief. So if it fails, it only fails if we no longer believe in it. If we believe that they can't rebuild it, then that'll be a problem. But some guy with a lot more charisma than me will come on the TV and tell you why it all will work, and they'll put it back in working order. Ethan Keating says, you don't have to be a genius, you just have to be smart enough not to be stupid. Yeah. This is DL's Bitcoin pitch. Yeah. No, I'm not an investing genius. I did my own investments for about 10 years, and I made money doing it, but it was my second job. I was just all the time stuck in doing research, and at the end of the day, I wasn't making so much more money than I could have made with my money invested with a broker. So yeah, I don't do my investing anymore. I don't have the risk tolerance for it. So yeah, I played around with it. I did okay, but I'm not a Bitcoin guy. I'm not a big investor guy. I'm a big, how could a normal person without any kind of crazy education or whatever just get ahead? So that's what I did. I tried to get ahead using the tools that were available. But believe me, owning houses is a pain in my ass. I'm trying to sell one right now. It's on the market. People keep looking at it. I haven't got a good offer on it yet. And so real estate's, it's good. It's a good investment. You make money doing it, but man, it's a lot of risk. Yeah, it's not for everybody. But you only ever have to do it once, guys. I'm telling you, if the first time you ever move, you just keep the house that you move out of, that's already enough. Then if you move again, you can sell the house. You can just keep one rental. You don't need to be a real estate mogul. But if you can do that 2 or 3 times in your lifetime and have 2 rental houses and make money off of it, it is insane how far you get ahead of everybody. Like all your friends will be talking about, yeah, we got a raise. I'm making $110,000 at work. And you'll think to yourself, well, I'm only making $80,000 at work, but, I'm making another $70,000 on the side. And oh, by the way, somebody's paying for my house at the same time. Diversification means more than just houses. It's not stupid to have things like metal, ammunition, gems, or a million other things that real world people value. I don't know about that. I think diversification is basically 4 things to me, right? It's some kind of savings, just to have cash on hand, which is valuable. Doesn't have to be that much. Real estate, investments in stocks and bonds and all that stuff, and investment in yourself. So that last category would be like a timeshare or some kind of vacation plan that you have, some kind of it's hard to think of much outside of things like timeshare and vacation stuff, but it's basically an investment in yourself. It does have some value, but you don't value it for what you could resell it for. You value it for the idea that you're forcing yourself to go do something nice and have that balance between work life and the rest of everything. When Canadian truckers were getting their bank accounts forfeited for being a part of the convoy, that doesn't go a long way toward faith in the banking system. So Heretic, I'm going to challenge you on this. I'm going to challenge you big time on this. What's the other side of the story? Most people hear the news, and the news tells them what to think, and they don't ever go research what's on the other side of it. What's the other side of the story? Because that story is not without a second side. When people are practicing civil disobedience, you have to find a non-violent way to get things back under control. If the people practicing civil disobedience have a point, then you give them what you want, and you create the law, and you help them, and they go back to being law-abiding citizens. If you can't, you still have to find a way to get that under control, because once they get away with it, the whole system of governing starts to slide. So what's the other side? What's the other side of the story? I'm not going to pick right and wrong here. I'm not political. I'm not going into politics. I'm not picking a side. I'm just saying, sometimes when I see people react with words like you're using, have you even looked at the other side of the story? And if you did, what do you think you'd find? Just ate dinner. Did you win on Loquitur? Yeah. Yep, I won on Loquitur. Well, I don't know yet. I don't know until my opponent plays, but looks pretty good for a win. Heretic says, what violence? I didn't say violence. I just said you have to find a non-violent solution. So a violent solution would be going arresting truckers, pulling them out of their trucks, and putting them in jail, right? That could be perceived as a violent solution. Anything that involves the use of physical force is not perceived well by the public, and it shouldn't be. Shouldn't have to resort to physical force. But you have to find some other way to get your point across. The government has no right to confiscate your money without due process, at least in the U.S. If circumstances change, they'll change the laws to their needs. They'll pass an amendment that allows them to do it. Ray says, in Roman times, there was never a virtual debt. You had a horse or 100 potatoes to trade. Actually, if you go and look at Alexander the Great, he was a conqueror. But somehow, he was one of the few people in history that went conquering and left everything better behind him. He would take over a town. He would come to the town and say, okay, basically, I'm going to come kill a bunch of you guys, but we can prevent all of this if you just lay down your arms and join my empire. And in return for that, I'll leave teachers and we'll build schools, and I'll introduce you to the concept of money. And you're on a trade route that we want to establish, so horses and carts are going to be walking through here and you'll make money. And a lot of the places that he, quote, conquered never fought. They just laid down their weapons and joined the system and took his currency. And he was part of the reason for the idea of economics and trade to spread as fast as it did. People liked the idea. They liked the idea a lot that they could just buy stuff. Yeah, I have a coin with a picture of Alexander on it, and you can buy stuff. All right, so we've got a GAC question. DL, in the run-up to unlocking a GL, do you prepare the gear for them to get them up to relic almost straight away? Yes. So if you go back and you look at my Loquitur account, the last two characters that I had to build for Kenobi, I'm just trying to remember this all. The last two characters that I had to relic for Kenobi, I got them built up on gear. And then once I was relicking them, I had 2 weeks where I spent almost no gear on any characters. I just relicked the last two requirements. And, I went in and I looked at the SWGOH events. They've got a gear tracker that you can use. And I just used that to track what gear I needed and farmed everything I needed. And then when I got Kenobi, I just blasted him straight to Relic 8. So, yep, absolutely. So Heretic's responding back. If one believes that the removal from the currency system is an acceptable form of deterrence for civil disobedience, isn't it ultimately a form of force itself is diluting themselves? It's certainly a display of power, but it's not physical force. And whether we want to say so or not, there is a difference between physical force and not physical force. It doesn't mean that it's not a forceful tactic. It doesn't mean that it's not use of influence, but it is not physical force or being shot or people being killed. So, taking money away is definitely in the category of nonviolent. That's why the U.S. places embargoes on other countries. They just take away their trade, take away their money, rather than sending airplanes with bombs. All right, I got bad news for you guys. On the main account here, we got that win against Totom. He tried to fight against Ray a couple times and then just sent me the text that said he hates Ray, and that was it. We cleared everything back to that Newt Django team that we couldn't quite get down. So we're fighting now against Red. 7.9 million galactic power. 3.3 in ships, 4.6 in characters. He's got all the stuff for fleets. 5 galactic legends, on and on. Now the bad news for you guys is I actually do not want to win. I'm getting close to Kyber 1, and every time I push close to Kyber 1, the opponents that I get, because everybody at this level is active, is playing, and has a good account, that crossover for me into Kyber 1, every week after that's always been a 1 and 2 or a 0 and 3 kind of week. So I'm going to intentionally lose this match, stay in Kyber 2, and not, because this would put me pretty close to Kyber 1. I don't want that. So this part of the stream is going to be short. We're going to go in here, we're going to win a battle, and we're going to leave. And I'm assuming that since he's already played this out and he's done very well and we're fighting for the #1 spot, that, yeah, I can only assume that he's going to beat me. Just fine. That's what I want. After he plays, if I find out that he plays a bunch of stuff and you know, clears everything, I may go in here and try to beat a couple of these teams and get my money. But that's the only reason I would do it. What do I want to practice? We could do Ray. See, I automatically start thinking all the stuff, right? I think we're just going to go in here with Wampa, Wamp the Grievous, and we'll move on to the Abtisio stuff. All right, there's a Wamp. You get fined for speeding tickets. Isn't that the same thing? Yeah, crime and punishment. Hey, so anybody who's, I'll just say this right now, just to be clear. Do not in any way attack or retaliate against Heretic. Do not. He put a comment in the stream. I chose it to respond to it and read it on stream. He is not at fault for anything. He's not trying to start anything, and I respect the hell out of the fact that he's got an opinion. I just challenged whether or not he looked at the other side of the story and has an informed opinion. That's all I asked. I entertained his comments. This is not going to be a matter of right and wrong. I'm not going to say Heretic is wrong. Can't tell people that their opinion is wrong. It's their opinion. They're entitled to it. So please, I would ask all of you, respect Heretic. I engaged with the conversation. I engaged. Ali says, good reminder, DL, well put. Yeah, no. Yeah, and if people put inappropriate comments and I don't want to respond to them, then I don't read them on the stream. That would be pretty foolish. Okay, we've got our one match in, and that's going to be it for the Allura account. Like I said, if he comes in later and decides that he wants to play out a bunch of stuff, I may go in there just to get more credits. Get the greedy credit train rolling. Heretic says, it doesn't bother me if people don't agree with me. It's fine. Heretic, that is the idea of debate, right? That's the idea of debate, where people can share two different opinions and still walk out of the room respecting each other and the fact that they have different opinions. Debate is not argument. Debate is good. It's healthy. It's the basis of our system for government in the United States. If anybody has never thought about this, the two-party system that we have, you need at least two parties. And if people say, well, why do the parties disagree on everything? They have to. That's the whole point. You don't have debate if everybody agrees. If there wasn't two sides to the gun control issue, then how would we argue out to the point where all different points of views get heard and then people rationalize what makes the most sense? If we look back 150 years, they had a debate on whether or not whether or not slavery was right or wrong, but they had a debate on whether it was the right of the states or the right of the nation to regulate that. Somebody was on the side of the argument where it was okay. Some were on the side of the argument where it was national, some of them were on the side where it was a state right. But people were legislating that. When we look back on history now, we say, how on earth could anybody ever have been on the wrong side of that argument, right? Seems so foreign to us. But that's how debate works. Man, I'm philosophical today. We're not getting much Grand Arena done, but we're philosophizing. Who knew you joined a stream for philosophy? Whether you agree with anything the other person said or not, it still sheds light on both sides of the subject, which is in and of itself is productive. Yeah, exactly right. How dare you not subject yourself to Dale's point of view? That's how you learn. You play games. You guys all know this. When you play games, you learn more from your losses than you ever do from your wins. You either win because you already learned it, or you lose and you learn something from it. Losing makes you better. If you look at professional fighters, that's where you can see this dynamic at the highest possible level. Man, I just keep talking today. Probably need to shut up. But you see these fighters who go like 22-1, almost undefeated in their amateur career and in their professional career. They get into these big $1 million stakes matches and they lose. They lose to somebody that they think is worse than them. And it crushes their ego. They don't know how to deal with defeat. They haven't been getting better and better by being beaten as they went along. They were just so good that they weren't ever challenged. And the first time somebody comes in with a better strategy and knocks them flat on the floor, something changes in their mind, and psychologically they're never the same. And I think Ronda Rousey is like that. You know, she had such a promising career and was doing so well, and then lost, struggled with the loss, lost again, struggled with the loss, and I think it's a mental thing. I don't think Ronda Rousey ever lost her skill for fighting. I think she's as good or better than she ever was, but she lost her confidence for it. Something changed. Interesting stuff. Yeah, promoters love to protect the zero in combat sports. Jack6 says, Charlie Knife is a smart man. He learns from his own mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others. I like to think watching other people's failures is a better teacher. Man, Jack6, there's a saying. Let's see if I can quote this. There are 3 types of learning. By reflection, which is the noblest. By imitation, which is the easiest. And by experience, which is the hardest. So the idea of reflection, you watch somebody else's mistakes and you don't make those mistakes. That's the noblest, right? That's the best way to learn. I do not learn that way. Guys, I can't even tell you. I'm a big reader. I've read a lot of books. I've read a lot of management books, self-help books, things to try to make me a better person books. And usually I'll read it in the book and I'll see it and I'll believe it and I'll say, wow, I like this. I'm going to do that. And then I screw it up. Like the very next time it happens to me, I do it wrong. But then all I've got is this reflection. I've read the book, and now I see myself doing it wrong, and I'm like, that's what they were talking about. So it's almost like I struggle with that learning by reflection. I can watch other people's mistakes and then still make the same mistake myself. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, but it's true. It's true. I typically have to learn by experience, which is the hardest. Most people don't learn through reflection. Well, Jackson, I've just admitted that I have a hard time with it, so so yeah, maybe other people do too. All right, let's get in here on this Subtitio, see if we can finish out the philosophy session for the night. So I've got the opposite here. I've got 2 losses and no wins, and I would definitely like to get another win. It did poke me back down to Bronzium 5, so that's not fantastic. But let's go take a look at the current round here. I didn't reset my defenses. Bronzium 5. If I'm in Bronzium 5, why are all... Bronzium 5. Okay. I gotta get my head straight. I was thinking Carbonite for a second. Okay, we're not in Carbonite. We're still in Bronzium. We're in Bronzium 5. The opponent, 3.6 million galactic power, tons of ships, tons of characters, tons of relics. So I'm again in the situation where there's no way to win unless my opponent decides not to play. So we got to get in here, try to win a couple battles, and hope that the opponent just taps out. That's what we're looking at. So we've got a Revan team and a Bounty Hunter team. Over here we have a Revan team. Wait. What am I looking at? He's got all of his relics on offense? Okay, I take that back. Maybe I do have a chance to win. Wow. Okay, so he's got good teams on defense, but looks like he's saving a bunch of relics for offense. Still probably can't beat Darth Revan with Malak. I don't know what I would beat that with. I don't think my Vader team is good enough. Let's see what we can do down here. Against Revan, probably use Qui-Gon. Use Vader here. Yeah, let's do that. Let's use Qui-Gon here. Vader up top. See if we can get to the back and experiment a little bit. I think you've been unlucky, DL. I've got a similar account in Bronzium too because a bunch of people haven't played. Okay, well. Okay, I think that was the savior. Okay. Haha. Good job, Anakin. Little guy Anakin still has enough to put him through the mat. Alright, let's everybody I want to use is Empire, right? Yep. DL, are you justice for Johnny Depp or I stand with Amber Heard? I would not express such an opinion on stream even if I had one. I would express the opinion of educate yourself. Try to figure out both sides of the stories. Don't believe what you hear in the press. Make up your mind for yourself which side you're on. That's what I would say. Most people believe what they're told without ever going back and trying to figure out what's the truth. at least two sides to every story. There's one side, there's the other side, and there's the truth, which is usually somewhere in the middle. Figure out your version of the truth, and decide what you stand for. Even in things that are so obviously wrong. TV puts something up on night, says a cop shot an innocent person. How could they do this? They broke into the house, they yelled, the person put their hands up and they got shot. What's the other side of the story? What's the other side of the story? Find out that the police had a person killed on patrol 2 days earlier. Random traffic stop. Walking up to the car to give him a ticket. Person leaned out the window and shot the cop right in the neck. Every cop in the precinct's on edge. And they shoot an innocent person. But everybody was expecting that to go differently, right? They don't want to end up like the other guy the day before. There's reasons these things happen. Sometimes it's incompetence. Sometimes it really is just blatant, point-blank incompetence. But there's always a different side of the story. That's what the court hears. That's why sometimes people seem to get off without paying the price for their crime. Because when it goes to court and the facts are in front of everybody, the other side of the story is compelling. Alright, we'll try to get through this Ewok battle, see if we can just get a little more money in the bank. Alright, let's kill Elder. Oh, these Jedi, they're so bad. Oh my goodness. I hit that Elder and like one single green speck of health came off of him. Come on, ladies and gents, we gotta get this. Gotta get some damage. Oof. Bastil's going down. Yeah, I don't think we'll get these Ewoks. So that'll be pretty much it for the Obtisio account. Try to go up top and see if we can. Yeah, I don't. We got nothing left. Are you pro Fifth Amendment, or would you rather see it changed? You guys are trying to provoke me into giving political opinions. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to give any opinion. I'm not going to take sides on current events or politics. That's not what this channel is about. This channel is about SWGOH mostly, and maybe self-improvement second. It's the whole experience thing, right? Like, I want to share with you guys things that have changed my life and help you if I can. It's a help stream, not an opinion stream. How do you introduce calibration and safety standards without stepping on toes and running into fights at every change? Oh, okay, so DL, professional question for you. You get brought into a development lab setting as the first test engineer in the company. How do you introduce calibration and safety standards without stepping on toes and running into fights at every change? So you have a boss somewhere. You have a manager somewhere with expectations. That's what you need to start with. You need to start with the why. Why am I introducing safety standards and calibrations? If they say, well, we're not meeting standards, and if we don't meet standards, we're not going to get a contract for the government. Okay, there's your why. And then when people start arguing with you and say it's hard, we don't want to do it, you just say, okay, I know, but there's $20 million contract on the table, and if we don't do this stuff, we won't get the contract. So, I'm here to help this business make more money. They make more money, they pay your salary, you put your daughter through college. It's how life works. We need the business to do well for ourselves to do well. So, yeah, you can help me, or you can help put the business out of business. Your choice. End those arguments real fast. If you've got the why, and the why comes from 2 or 3 levels up on why they're doing this, then if somebody reports you to your boss's boss and says, this guy's out of control, he's trying to do all this stuff, it's going to cost us a bunch of money and blah, 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 we're going to lose profitability. And the boss comes to you and says, man, you got us in trouble, like, what are you doing? You say, hey, he's the one that said he wanted this stuff. He wants the government contract. This is what it's going to take. Here's the standard fact-based decision making. Here's CFR 49172G. We're going to comply with it. Don't introduce standards if you can't back it up with fact. You don't want calibration and standards on equipment that doesn't require them. For example, there's a standard for materials that are used to ship hazardous chemicals. And let's say you just go into a company and you say, I want to build everything to that standard. Most of your customers don't need that standard unless they're transporting hazardous chemicals or unless you're in the business of making hazardous chemicals. So don't apply more stringent standards that aren't needed. When you do, apply them where they're needed. You have the facts to back it up. People can't argue with you. Did that help you at all? Maybe that helps. Not a channel about politics, so I'm guessing you won't answer the age-old question, does pineapple belong on a pizza? Well, I am an equal opportunity pizza eater. I will eat Hawaiian pizza with pineapple and regular sauce, barbecue sauce. I will eat black olives on pizza. There are a heck of a lot of pizzas that I will eat. So, if pineapple is on a pizza, is it still a pizza? Heck yeah. I'm on the team for pineapple. I can answer that. It's not political. Or at least I don't think it's political. TK says I had pineapple on pizza today. It was delicious. Potatoes on pizza, 2 thumbs up. It definitely helped. I've been running into, well, we never worried about it before. I don't want to. Charlie Knife says, DL, he was joking. So Charlie, I don't know how long you've been a fan of the channel, but I answer joke questions seriously also. Somebody asked in the Ask Loquitur channel the other day if cereal was considered soup. And I gave them a fact-based answer on cereal as a soup. A bit tongue-in-cheek, though. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this stream up before it gets completely derailed. I don't even know if you can consider this one a Galaxy of Heroes stream. This is just like a random Darth Loquitur. With sweat in his shirt and a busted up toe. Yeah, I absolutely crushed my toe. When I was working on the pool, I missed the step and ran my toe into the step. Really hard. Took all the skin off the end of my toe. So, yeah. Maybe that's what's needed for a DL philosophy stream. Just go to work for a couple hours and then destroy your toe. Matches my daughter with her broken toe, I guess. Darth Philosopher. Darth Philoquitur. Philoquitur. Philoquitur sounds like something pornographic. We'll stay away from that one. Darth Philoquitur is my new favorite phrase. No. There's going to be too many jokes made about that one. Get away from that. Get off that right away. Get away from that one right away. All right, guys, I'm going to pack it in there. Sorry for the let's say the dud on my main account. But next round, we'll target 2-1s for a while, right? So if we lose, the likelihood that I'm going to lose one of the early rounds is really high. So if I play and lose, then I'll always be playing my GACs. It's only if I have 2 wins and I'm in the last round that I'll throw it. Stick to the 2-1 record. Alrighty, guys, I've enjoyed this. It's been fun. I look forward, hopefully, to a lot of written comments in the comment section down below. Anything you guys want to comment on, I'm always happy to hear. I won't engage too much in arguing philosophy or politics, but I had fun today. I really did. So thank you guys all for watching. Appreciate everybody. This may be the longest stream ever with like 2 battles between 2 accounts. Yeah, it's pretty long. All right, like if you haven't done that already. Subscribe to watch more like this in the future. There probably won't be any more just like this one in the future. Usually don't have this much philosophical stuff. But thank you all for watching. Thanks for hanging with me. And I'll catch you guys all later. See you in the next Holocron.